Hello and welcome to my first tutorial about creating a website with Bootstrap. I just created my own first website and I want to share the process of creating it with you so you can maybe we can both learn something. So this is the website which is going to be built. With Bootstrap it is responsive, meaning it looks good on different devices. If you check it out here, it's how it looks on a mobile device. So it looks nice and it looks nice on desktop. So what we need first is something to test the website locally. So you maybe just have purchased a web hoster, but if you don't, you can create your own local host. Therefore you need XAMPP. XAMPP you find from apachefriends.org. So you can just download it for Windows, Linux or OS. And after you downloaded it, you will have in your XAMPP installation folder, you have a folder after you download it in your XAMPP installation folder, you have a htdocs folder. And in this you see the index.php and the applications.php. If you start your control panel and start the Apache, you can start and stop it here. One note about that, it uses the ports 80 and 34. I had problems with it when Skype was running because apparently Skype uses the same ports. You can either change the config or close Skype. If you want to test if everything went fine, you can just type localhost in your browser bar and you see your dashboard for XAMPP. So in the htdocs folder we will create a new folder tutorial. So if you and there we want to create our website. So basically if you just type localhost tutorial and then there will be our website later on, but there are no files there, so it doesn't make sense to do that yet. So the next thing we need to do is get Bootstrap. Bootstrap. So you can get it from getbootstrap.com. Download it. You want to download the Bootstrap, not the source files. So after that you get these three folders: CSS, fonts and JavaScript. You're gonna extract them in your tutorial folder you just probably created, or anyway in the folder where your XAMPP htdocs tutorial. Okay, so did I just and there you go, these three are there. So the next thing you can download from Bootstrap is a lot below is the examples. Downloading under the examples you find downloading Bootstrap repository. This will provide a simple template we can start off and change. So you open the zip file under docs, examples, starter template. You have the starter index HTML, only that. You don't need the starter template.css because we won't use it anyway. So now we're gonna go again into XAMPP htdocs. Where is it? htdocs tutorial. Okay, so check if it's there. It's there. So now you can go to localhost tutorial and see this. It's pretty ugly because we didn't include the starter template .css and some other things are still wrong. So we open the index.html and what we see here is an HTML file with basically a lot of stuff we can delete. For example, we don't need the icon of Bootstrap. That can be gone. The title of our page is Die Fruchtbar. Here this link to the Bootstrap CSS file is wrong. For our case we have only css/bootstrap.main.css. It's the style sheet. HTML is responsible for structuring how our data is presented, so in tables and stuff, and the CSS is responsible for laying it out that it looks good, basically, so colors and text alignment and margin and padding and stuff. So next things can just be gone. We don't need any of them, so delete them. And in the bottom you see the script for the Bootstrap min.js. That's also wrong. Need to change it to that. So, and we don't need the workaround because we don't have it anyway, so just delete it. And there you go. Now you can recheck. There you go. Our local host should yeah, and now it still looks kind of weird, but now it looks a lot of better because we now have loaded the correct Bootstrap file, we have loaded the correct CSS file, and now, yeah, it looks like this. And basically we built this site, so we're gonna start with the navigation task list. So that part. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 links, so we need to create 8 files, additional files. So we're gonna just 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and rename each of them. So it's offer.html is the first one. So what can you buy in the store? In the shop, the prices, the philosophy, so basically the quality of the products, how it works, how to what ingredients are currently there, so what assortment we have. We have we have a nutrition calculator that can calculate. You can check what is in your smoothie, what calories, what vitamins, and so on. This will be later changed to PHP. We don't really use it yet. We have a news site where we can check the latest news, and a contact form, contact.html. This will also be later changed to PHP because we will include, if you check, you have a form and a Google Maps integration, so we're gonna change that later to PHP to handle that. But first we wanna create this thing, the heading with the text and these 4 columns. So we're going again in the index.html, and yeah, basically what we can see here, everything happens in the body. The body is basically what's in the site, and Bootstrap has these classes called navbar. Here these different navbar classes which provide this header functionality. And also cool stuff, if you look at that page and go into press F12 in Chrome to enable developer view, and on the left side you can toggle different devices. For example, we see here a Galaxy S5 and the navigation is gone, but this button has appeared, and if you click this button it opens a drop down menu with these different navigation links, so it's nice on the mobile to navigate. That's awesome. So, but first we need to add that. Basically, this button functionality is already there, so you can already have you already see these icon bars, these 3 spans. These are responsible for presenting the button. And in this, it's an unsorted list with list elements. So UL stands for unsorted list. And here you see the button, first of all. Unsorted list is each element in this list represents a single navigation element. So if you look at what we have here, we have home, about, and contact. So these are the three that are already defined, and we overwrite them because we don't need them. So first of all, we have the first link will be let's check this out. We will offer. So we have a list element with a child, a link element which points to offer.html, the file we just created, and then we close the list element. So and the name of the link, what is to be displayed. What we did here is, for anyone not familiar with HTML at all, we have a list element. Each element has an opening tag and a closing tag. And within this tag we have a child and a link element. This link has a reference to what it is pointing. This is href, offer.html in this case, and what is to be displayed. If we just reload our website again, so looking here, we have now Angebot, or offer basically. And I structured it a little bit because of readability. I think it's better to read. So now we have these. The next thing is change this about to prices. Price.html. What does it cost to buy a product there? And the next thing we want to do is create the quality, so basically the philosophy of the shop. Quality. And now we need to create multiple additional list elements because we have more navigation elements. The next thing is the how to. Basically describing how the process of ordering something there functions. No, that looks a bit wrong somehow. No, it's the .html is missing. So the next another list element with href is like equals selection.html. It provides an overview of all the ingredients we have currently in store. So if you're in Germany in Magdeburg and want to visit the shop, you can see on the www.die-fruchtbar.de. Yeah, just check it out. I will provide a link. Now the news. .html. We have the contact form we will create later. Therefore it's more or less just a placeholder because it's not showing anything. Well, except for the starter template, yeah, and we're missing one. We are missing the nutrition, but I will add that later on because it's not that important right now. Okay, checking again. If we reload the page, we see the new elements. Okay, next thing is building this heading basically. So what we are going to do here is we add a Jumbotron class around. If you want to look it up, it's a Bootstrap class. It's basically the idea about the Jumbotron is that this whole thing is quite big, so you can have a point of tension which is quite large. So we want to emphasize the message here that you are at this job. So we will add a div element. A div is basically just it's a divider. It has no meaning at all if you don't provide any additional information, so it doesn't do anything on its own. What we do basically is we add a class element, Jumbotron, and here comes the CSS into play. If you look into your folder CSS and open Bootstrap CSS, you see a definition for different things, and if you look for Jumbotron, you see a definition of what it has to do. So basically it's it has certain attributes. So it has a top padding, a bottom padding, and so on. So because we do all this as a child or beneath the closing of this dev, it it inherits the information from the Jumbotron if no subclass is overriding this inheritance. So now we want to create the heading, so the text. Therefore, we have this class container. Container is just again a Bootstrap class which provides different width depending on the width of the device you look at. So, for example, a smartphone has a much smaller width than a desktop, so it helps with the responsiveness. And we start first with a div I will later fill it out with content and a heading. That's the heading. So, and we want to have a subheading. So what does h1 mean? H1 is basically the biggest heading. It's the main heading of a page. You have to be careful using headings because if you want to optimize your site for search engines, for example, Google tries to understand how your data is structured or what do you want to say. And if more than one h1 is available in a single page, it doesn't know what to do because h1 is the most important thing. It should only be there once. And subsequent headings should be structured hierarchically, so yeah, you need to be careful with the order. So basically it's more or less a subheading, H2 from the nature, and the Blender is standing there. So we are just deleting that and writing our own text. Oh, typo. So, if you look again at the side, we should have some text. Oh, wrong side. Yeah, you see a bit. So, what has happened is that's the heading 1, and that's our paragraph, so it's a text block. But it doesn't look so good yet. Why? Because it's not centered, for example. So, centering. For centering, we could just go here in this div and could write style is gleich text align. This would provide this single element, this div, and all childs of it with the style to center this page or this text. So here you go, centered. But if you want to have that on different elements again, you have to write it all again. Therefore, we can create classes. For example, could it look something like this? Class is gleich center. So we provide the class name, and it looks in any style sheet if it finds the class called center. Currently, there is no such class. So we will create a new file, custom.css. Yes. You could also edit the bootstrap.css, but I would recommend you to create your own file so you have your custom changes, not mixed with the original Bootstrap CSS. So now you create, you open it and define your classes in CSS. Always start with a dot, and then you provide basically the style line center. That's the code. So now it's not working because we have to include this style sheet. The site does have to know where to load it, so we need to provide a path, and we have it in our sub folder CSS, and its name is custom.css, and it's from the type style sheet. So what so now it should be working, and we should see no difference. And yeah, actually we see no difference. So that is working already. So, but it's a huge difference to this style. For example, with transparency is missing and stuff like that. And yeah, we're gonna work on that next. Basically, what happened here is that we defined a new class within the style sheet. So okay, no, that's not it. What the fuck? Just have me have a look at how we did it. Interesting things, if you go into a browser and want to look how what a website is made of, just right click, inspect. So you see, for example, here auch again class large, and you see here you can just check container is message, for example. So we have this here you go, for example, and you can check and uncheck things like that. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna create this so-called message. That's a class I created, or I will use on different places to make the text more visible. And yeah, we have a background. We want to have a semi-transparent background, so we're gonna use the element RGBA. So we want to have, in this case, we want a black background, so all three elements are 0, but with a slight transparency. So what does it mean? It's to 40% transparent, I think. Yeah, 40% transparent. And so we basically have black, but with a lot of transparency, so you get this gray. And if I apply it to this here and reload the page, you don't see anything. I didn't save the CSS file, so there you go. Now you have some transparency, and if you, for example, would change this to 0.1, we had a lot more transparency, so it is 90% transparent. Now it's again 40% transparent, and we also want to have a bit more space on the top to the navigation bar, so we changed that to, we increased the margin to 80 pixel. So if you look at that now, it's gone down. And if you want to know how exactly it looks, you can again go to right click, inspect, look at the, no, it's actually not here, it's in Firefox. Okay, different browsers have different useful things. For example, if I open oh no, that's wrong. Localhost tutorial. Okay, no. I see. It's over. So, right click, inspect element, look at the element I'm interested in. For example, I want to have this whole gray rectangle, and look into box model. Each element is within a box model, each so containing the dimensions of the element itself. Send some padding, so it's a little distance. Then it has a border. Basically, padding is the distance between the element and the border, and then some margin. Margin, you can say, is the distance between this element and the next element. So we added some margin to the top, so it has some some space on the top. So back again to the original website, because the next thing we will do is add these 4 elements. The background will be we do later, and the color. Bootstrap is using grids most of the time to handle its responsive design, meaning you have always a certain number of columns, and depending on the width of the screen, the columns behave differently. For example, looking at this, these are 4 columns or 4 elements. Bootstrap is uses always 12 columns, so the result, sum of these 4 is 12. And it's set so that if the screen is of medium size, for example desktop, each element takes 3 of these 12 columns, so in total these 4 are placed beside each other. And it is set so that if it is a very small screen, for example the smartphone, each of this element is 12, so it takes all the place, and you can see that greatly if you look at it in the smartphone view. So now it uses all the space, and the 3 other columns are placed beneath it, so it looks awesome even on smartphones, and you don't have to do much. Basically, you just define the grid, and so we want to do, what we want to do next is we want to create these 4 rows but basically we are finished with the header. So we start with something new with a container, and I already explained what a container is. So what I forgot to do is you can provide roles, meaning for example this is the header and this is the main. What does a role do? Basically it's for blind people. If a screen reader is accessing this site, it reads out the roles if they are provided, so the person has a overview, where are you now, what is shown here, what it has to do. So somebody, this is the caption, so basically the header of the whole site, and this is the main content of the site. So okay, now each grid has several rows, or at least one row, so we need to define a row. And now we are already defining the grid, and this looks, for example, something like this. I will explain it shortly, just getting it done. Basically, as I said, you define a color, and you have here the size indicators. Basically, this means medium size, small size, very small size. It also gets LG, large size, but if you provide that, it already also applies for the next bigger one. So if I just would have stated SM, it would also apply for MD and LG. So the sum is always 12, meaning that if the size is medium, for example with desktop I'm working on currently, it takes 3 of these 12 spaces. If it's a smaller, probably a tablet, it takes 6, and if it's a smartphone it takes 12. So on a smartphone we see each of those 4 columns is beneath each other. On a tablet it would probably be 2 and beneath another 2, and on this desktop screen you see it's all 4 in one row. So okay, next thing we want is another div. I will fill it later with stuff. Just add it here. So okay, now this is actually quite useless. Okay, so we want to have a link to if you click on that, you have you're going to the offer.html, and this link is not text, it's an image, and it's of the type responsive. So this image responsive is provided by Bootstrap, so it fills the space that is available for the image if the image is big enough, or the image will be smaller depending on the size available for the image. So we currently have no image, so we will provide 0 source, so no path, and the alt attribute is responsible again to provide the screen reader with information, or if the image cannot be loaded, which is the case right now for us. So if a screen reader accesses the page, it reads the alternative description of the image, and this should provide some information on what the image presents, or what do you want to express with this image. So now we have created this, and probably gonna I'm gonna wrap that in another div just for readability and have a more clear structure of the site. So next is another div. Now with a heading, we want to have this basically a heading as a link, so you can have some text which is quite large and so how did I get this this heading to be a link? Well, basically you have this heading element h3 and it wraps a link element, so this will make the h3 a link. Okay, so we need to close the div above, and yeah, so we have created the next. Can I see somewhere? Well, apparently I can't. Well, whatever. So, and the next thing, we will want to have some more text on it. So we have some statements. We are currently at the offer element, so we will write what offers are available. So we have smoothies in the store. We have frozen fruits, frozen yogurt, and we have coffee specialties. So you can order coffee with additional stuff in it. Now we close it. Now we want not close it yet, because we need another element. We need another link. But this link is not text. We want to have these no more button, so we take different button classes and provide the target where this button should lead, HTML, mehr, and close the link, and close div, close the div, close the div, close the div, and close the div. So if we look at the page now, we have this well, very ugly piece of text, and yeah, but you can click here or here or here and be sent to the offer.html. Why is it still so ugly? Well, because we have not provided any style sheet information for this class. So we now gonna create some more style sheet. So for example, we didn't center any of this. So we will center this whole thing. Therefore we have this div element here. It is only provided to get some information across for the styling. So you have again, so voila, everything is centered. And the next thing we need to do is, if you look at the original website I made, or the original column, we need this element with the border and some other stuff, and we will create that next. So what do we do? What do we need? Well, basically we need a new class. I call it offer column, no service column, because we will apply it to all four. It has the different services in it. We want to have a white background, so we need to create a white background. We use the hex presentations. It's always with starts with hashtag, and 6 times F means white. It's basically the same as RGB 255, 255, 255. Now we want a border radius. So that defines how the border should how a radius to the border should be applied. We want no on the top, and we want no on the left, but we want to have something on the bottom and on the right side. So here we go. And now we need to define how the border looks like, how thick it is, so how the width of the what kind of border. So solid is a normal line. You could dot it or checked or something like that. There are different types. We need to define the color of the border. We have here, just for example, it is red apparently, and we have some transparency again, makes it look a bit nicer. And we have a padding, so we want to have some more space. No. Damn it. So around it. And we want no just looking nicer. We want no border bottom, so we just define for the bottom border that is a 0 pixel width and some additional space top. So if I apply that to these this element, I named it service column, so we just take that, put it here. It should look a bit nicer. Well, that's not exactly what it should look like, because something is missing below. Okay, let's inspect that. We want to dock it on the side, so we need some more space below, but we will get it later, so just leave it at that for the moment. And yeah, basically we can now copy paste this part, so it goes there. Need it 3 more times. And the next thing is not the offer, it is the quality, so the philosophy quality. We have fresh, regional products, and seasonal products. And again it goes to quality.html, and so, but this cannot be the same service column, because we want to change the color in it a bit. So we have here service red, for example. No, service green, for example. What do we use in the original? Well, okay. Make it red. And in the original it starts with green, so change that just. Okay, so next is here service yellow. We go to the how to. And the last one is well, it's a dark green. Okay. Well, let's take it and is going to be the ingredients that are available, so the selection. Nee, it's the selection. We need to change the text here again. So but you maybe noticed these additional classes like service red, service yellow, and service dark green are not yet created. So we will create them. For example, service red. Let's create that. The cool thing now is we only need to change this line. Because we provided both classes. Here we have service column and service red. So what is this doing now? It's looking first for the more top thing, so service column with the settings, and then every attribute in the lower one will override the same attribute in the above one. So we see here we have only defined the border, and this will only override the settings for the border. So we have the for yellow is something like 255 0, and dark green is something like 69 139, and let's look how it works. Yeah, now you see. Okay, so these tags will disappear in a moment because I will add some more. I will add the images. I bought some images from 1 to 3 rf. I don't know if you are familiar with the site, but yeah, you can buy them there or get them somewhere else, I don't know. So basically, one moment, just looking for the images. These images will be changed in the future because we don't actually appear to be the best choice. Not from the quality, but from what is shown there. So I create a new folder within here and call it image. Image. And there I place my 4 images. And now we can go into the index.html and fill the source. So we have image, we have this one, the first one was a peach, and the last one, where it is, here, is the cucumber. So, and reloading that looks a lot better. Now I don't know why this is not appearing to be right. For some reason I made a mistake, apparently, probably a not closed div element. Interesting. Why is it not closed on the first one? Sometimes right click, view page source, I use some red lighted stuff. I don't know if it's provided from Firefox or from oh, I don't need to close the image tag, okay. But that's not a problem here. Interesting. Just copy paste it and it's not working correctly. So what we did, we have here, okay, it's apparently it's a problem with the, I see here, we have space, evil space, and we have another error somewhere. Huh. Interesting. So, what's the difference between this one and this one? It's the same row, that's okay. It has the same specifications for the grid, that's also okay. It's closed. Okay. Well, to be honest, I don't see any difference at all. container is closed here, the row should be closed here. Yes. Okay. Call MD free call. Okay. Just for testing purpose. Just overriding it and reloading it. And apparently it can't be this one. Nope. There has to be another problem. Okay, let's just look at it. Class center service column service red. It's definitely not this one. It can't be. No. We have this div, a link for closing tag, and apparently we don't need that one, and we don't need that one, but that's not the problem. Div with closing tag. It's the same as here. So we have this div. The paragraphs are closed. The button isn't the problem. Nope. Well, let's take the more try and error approach. Is that the problem? Nope. We already had that one, so we just taking this, changing that. Nope, that wasn't the problem. So changing it back. Was that the problem? Nope. Changing it back. This wasn't a problem. Oop. Oh, only providing. Okay. Well, apparently I made some mistake. Some bigger mistake. Copy paste that. And now it's working. That's the quality. So now it should, yeah, okay. Service red, quality, oh god. Okay, so for some reason there is some mistake, and I don't see it. It's probably a not correctly closed div element. It's always a not closed div element. But that's part of development. You sometimes look always for the error. What the fuck happened here? Oh, what? Sorry, what happened here? So No throwing. Okay. Oh, I totally broke it now. So I want to override that with that. No, I want to. I see. So with yellow. And that's this how to. And it has the peach. Yes. Okay, so we changed that again, so probably... okay. That is strange. When did that happen? Aha. So apparently it's the problem I created myself with um, the overriding is apparently not working correctly. That's uh, a good point we can check out. So let's just... okay, so apparently we go inspect. Now we see the... here we see the... I see this border statement. Here you see the source column statements, and border will be overwritten a border button, so you need to change the custom CSS again. So we need to provide border bottom 0 pixels. So and if we reload it now, here we go. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I will create the next part soon. It will be adding the background image, making the site, these three rectangles, and maybe, depending on how far I come, these here below. Okay. If you have some questions, feel free to ask.